Hi, Romesh Shivastu here. Welcome to the YouTube channel. Please do subscribe this for the HR news, for the HR updates, for the conversation with top-notch CHROs and business heads. The agenda for today's discussion is work-life balance, well-being, and wellness in 2023. So, if you look at the workplace, the employee happiness dips at the work, though the people are working in a hybrid work model, and burnout rises. Employees want more flexibility. They want more focus on work-life balance. They want more focus on well-being and wellness in their life. If I try to distinguish here the wellness and well-being, so wellness generally refers to the physical fitness, and when we talk about the well-being, then it includes overall well-being, that mental well-being, that the physical well-being, that emotional well-being, social well-being, and also the financial well-being. If I refer here the definition by the WHO, so health is as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of diseases and infirmity. So I would like to also share here one report by the Clint, and this report refers that employees' top priority now when they are going to join a new organization. So if you see the checklist, so on the top of this, there is the work-life balance. Second comes the compensation and benefit. Third comes the inspiring colleague and culture. So the point is that work-life balance that is on the top priority for every employee now. To discuss in detail on these all the pertinent issues, we have two senior HR leaders. Let me introduce Vandana Tilwani. Vandana is the Chief Human Resource Officer with the Havas Group, and another senior HR leader is Mr. Vikas Koka. Vikas is Head Human Resources with the Dhanuka Agritech. So, Vandana, I would like to come to you first. How do you see the shift in overall well-being and wellness in last few years?
In the last 2, 3 years in particular, of course, we've been talking about mental health and wellness for some time now. But in the lockdown and during the pandemic period, I think the emphasis on wellness and particularly mental health, went to another level altogether. I think most important is there is a lot of acceptance. I think people are now accepting the fact that they could the fact that we could have mental health issues, because I think they've experienced it themselves, sitting at home, in a constricted environment. A lot of people who thought they were normal were also experience these kind of things. So there's a lot of acceptance around it. I think that was one. I think I have also seen, especially in the corporate environment, what I've seen is a lot of people are open to talking about it. So earlier, it was always like, I don't want to talk about it because, my organization might then see me in a different way. They may think I'm incapable. But today, employees are not afraid, especially the younger generation is not afraid to talk about the fact that they may be going through some stress, or they've had some personal trauma and hence they're going through issues. So, which is good, because I think that conversations are happening around it. The other thing, other change, or what I've seen shift is that I think people are realizing that stress, mental wellness, or anything of that side, that sort can happen for multiple reasons. Like many things can cause it. It doesn't necessarily have to be work stress. It could be anything. Somebody mental wellness is now opening up to topics like maybe
It is
addiction, maybe
personal
obesity,
also.
maybe
It is personal also. Sometimes it is a personal, your personal life.
it's
That also.
personal. Absolutely, absolutely. So many things are causing, which is good, because earlier we were not even our understanding of this area was so limited. And I think the other, I think, big revelation personally for me is, I think we just realized that the younger generation is also facing a lot of this. Probably that resilience or the mental strength, I personally feel, I mean, I could be wrong. I think there somewhere we are seeing a difference, because of the upbringing, because of the, the kind of lifestyle they lead. Somehow they are not able to tackle with some of the real life challenges, and hence they are getting so affected. And I think that for me, when I see the younger generation, it's so easy for them to just give up. No, I can't deal with it. And that has been my biggest, when I look at it, I feel bad because, we also have children at home. We see, but it's the same. I don't, maybe you could, one of you can agree with me if you think you've had that experience. So these are some of the things I'm seeing.
So, because how do you see? What is your opinion on this?
Sure. So, I've seen through multiple industries. In this industry, I'm just associated for last 24 months, and it diversifies itself from going from an urban town to typically a remote village, and then going to our factories, which are again present at a very, very remote site. I see, as an organization, we have, and I'm second to what Vandana has already specified, that things have really changed when I joined this organization in the middle of pandemic. Things dramatically changed. I think organizations have started developing that courage to talk to employees about this, taking this particular elephant in the room to the table. It was always present probably, and people did not have those courage to bring it out.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you bring it out is also very important, and a lot of strong stories which have been percolated to employees, which have helped them to come out if they had an issue. Uh, Earlier we did talk about typically physical wellness. Physical wellness was always there. You had health checkups, you had all that. I think consciously we started introducing some of the mental wellness checkups also in different forms. It could be in form of a survey, it could be in form of another expert coming in and doing a conversation. But I think the conversation is just everything is normal. It needs to be brought out to be able to deal with it. So the word called normal has come creeped in into us. Another good thing which I see is, and I'm talking about a couple of other organization leaders that I've been talking of, that word called what's wrong is being replaced with something like what's missing. And the moment you get into that wrong, the psyche goes into the very negative side of it, and what's missing can be collaborated by two people to be able to come across. I think I see clear shift in the vocabulary, in the versions that we speak. Also, I think there's been a lot of talks about inclusion at workplaces. And inclusion has multiple meanings, but I think the core impact comes into the mental wellness also, because when you talk of inclusions, you accept anybody the way the one person is and help that person to present authentically on the table, without pretending. So I think inclusion as a value, inclusion as a practice, inclusion as a culture also is impacting into organizations in different ways, I can see.
So, Vandana, what you see at the workplace, if I talk about, so what are the reasons of for the mental health issues, and how do you prioritize the mental health and the emotional well-being of the employees in your organization?
We, as an outcome of the pandemic, we rolled out a program called Be Kind to Your Mind, which we've been running since last year. It's almost like, 7, 8, almost a year coming to a completion. This whole Be Kind to Your Mind program was created to keep in, to basically address, specifically the issues that people were facing as an outcome of the pandemic. So what we do through this program is, we on a every month we pick up a theme. So one month it could be, eating disorder. One month it could be bullying. One month it could be depression. One month it could be addiction, maybe even finance and money. And especially coping with grief and loss. If you remember, a lot of people during the pandemic lost people. It was so unplanned, and a lot of people went through that. So we pick up, themes like these, and every month we, either have a panel discussion, we bring an expert to come and talk to employees about this. We share videos and webinars. We are sharing with them tips on what you can do, how you can, manage yourself better, how you can deal with this better. So I feel like, what this is doing, in the sense that while I know that as an organization, I cannot completely solve, problems, but what we are doing is creating a lot of awareness around it. And that awareness itself, and if I feel, what I believe is that just with the awareness, people know that, okay, I'm not the only one. There are other people who are probably, and it takes a lot of courage to come and talk about it, because there are some people who we invite who come and talk about the issues that they have as part of the panel discussion. There's a lot of that happening. Also, I think somewhere, we also felt like the managers play a very important role in this. Today a lot of, because there is so much work pressure, it's very easy to like dismiss somebody. Oh, this person is has these issues, sure. So maybe we should not, we should let that person go. I think there's a lot of that change, and we see, and we have consciously done some workshops for the managers to be able to handle these kind of situations. And I think the willingness and acceptance is there, which I thought was very powerful. So this Be Kind to Your Mind program has been like a big one for us, and really created this whole sense of like they feel this is an organization that cares and wants to talk about and is okay to accept us as we are.
So, because Vandana also shared a couple of reasons, and if particularly I go that sometimes that job expectations are not clear, unclear the job expectations, you can say. Sometimes the toxic work culture, sometimes the work relationship, sometimes the long working hours, pressure issues, obviously, and one more issue, sometimes the returning women after the maternity. So that also comes with some of the mental issues. So how do you deal in your organization with these are the kind of the mental issues?
So we've just taken up multiple ways, and I'll state about one or two or three. One is that we have started this platform called Sahyog. Now, Sahyog platform brings everybody. First, we've used technology to create Sahyog 2.0. Now, this technology enables people to come through chatbots, through different modes to this platform. And this platform has a group of people who help people to come out of that particular problem. And then Sahyog is really helping us to collaborate people from every part of the country. And there's a regular review which happens with a group of team, which is responsible for Sahyog to be able to come out through. And some of the issues where people were facing in terms of, I can say that recently, there was a lady who was supposed to come back after maternity, but she did not have support from in-laws, and she did not, neither had support. She didn't want to give the child to the, a nanny, or she didn't want to give the child to a daycare center. Now, we really helped her to co-create this space for her, to be able to come out of this problem. And we knew that, the family is unable to help beyond this. The only output would be that she'll have to quit the job. But we helped her to continue by giving her space through Sahyog, and we could create multiple opportunities she could, create to be able to continue her work while still output could be given. We gave her the kind of work she could still manage, in this scenario. Second, we have also helped organization to come to an external platform which is completely private in nature. It's called Your Dost. And we have helped to take this external platform internally. They have created a good visibility by going across our factories, doing workshops. And now this platform is actually multilingual. It can be connected through by any employees, and we would not get to know who's contacting. We'll not get to know the content. People can discuss their problems, and we just get to know the snapshot of what kind of problems has been brought out. Now, the platform is one, very, very private. Second, it is available in multiple languages. It is available over the web, voice, or chat box. So this helps people to just open up from anywhere across the country. This platform also is very good because it helps people and their family members also to connect. So we've given that access to all family members through their IDs. And best part is people are opening up because they know that nothing is being recorded. So that's another way. And second to what Vandana said about conversations, we've really used technology of various sorts to increase conversations of managers with people. In smaller groups, We could get managers across to people and talk about personal life, right? We help easing people's schedules by probably asking them to go for a conscious break. They were stuck in a problem at remote part of the country. We collaborated and helped them to come out of those problems. It could be personal in nature. We also help people, sometimes their families, going through a troubled time, to go out. So what I could see clear shift, Romesh, is earlier organizations were really talking about that person, the person who's employed, now really gone ahead and to help people and their families. So I can see the needle moving. Whenever I am talking to managers, I can see their conversations getting more humane. I always wanted that to be less machinic, more humane, less PNL, less numbers, more feelings. I think I can clearly see the change happen.
Yeah, so Vrinda, might be, I think here the HR technology also plays some important role. When we talk about the wellness, we talk about the well-being. So do you use certain platforms for this?
We have an EAP. There's an EAP platform that we use. We had launched this sometime during the pandemic, big for two reasons. One, because if you remember, going out to the doctor also was very dangerous in those days, right? So through this platform, they were getting telemedicine, services. So, for example, they could get some basic services. From the doctor, get a prescription, get the medicines and all that. That was one. We thought that was something that need of the hour. But this EAP platform also helps us with, provides us, they on their panel, they have these coaches and counselors and clinical psychologists. And so the employees who are undergoing, kind of stress or burnout or any kind of issues, they can anonymously and they can, in a very safe environment, talk to these coaches who can coach them, guide them, help them kind of cope with some of their issues. And that we've been tracking that, because you're in a position to track that. We've seen that engagement has significantly gone up.
Because how do you ensure the work-life balance in your organization? If it's passive point, if you share with us.
So you touched the most sensitive topic, and wherever I
Right.
go, I hear about this topic in multiple versions, and it could be about odd hours working, and it could be about working, on the weekend sometimes, because our work, I'm from a food industry, and the work goes on, distributors are on, your retailers are on, your work goes on, and you need to still manage the work with work life, right? So what we've done is, first we have made it very clear to people on their flexibility of working, basis their work. Now we made as clear as possible that people have their technology with them. So we have their apps present where they could reach out, they could transfer information, they could have communication. So those communications platforms are intact, so that people don't need to actually manage it through a location. So we are trying to dislocate people from any specific location. It's the workplace, which is your own retailer and distributor. What we are doing is we are changing the conversations, Ramesh, from being very, policy oriented conversations to now basically output oriented. The kind of questions we are coaching our managers to ask are all output oriented questions, not input. So that is really helping us to change, move the needle, where a manager may not ask what time did you start your day, or for that matter, how many hours did you spend, couple of, rather than, this is what has been committed. So we have a word called promise now, new word. So all our targets are converted into promises. All our conversations are being turned into, so any senior leader today will talk of promise, not a target or a, so this word promise is your integrity. If I make a promise, I need to adhere to it. And whenever a promise is made, it's two parties, right, who agree. So alignment and promise are two words which is really helping us to bring this big elephant in the room, which needs to be addressed through multiple ways. But what I'm trying to highlight is this kind of conversation is helping us to ease it out with people. And like I mentioned earlier, that we are helping people to take conscious breaks. We are asking them to take compensatory leaves. So more and more we are becoming a benevolent employer in terms of giving more space to people. But only ask is in terms of creating your own mechanism to, treat your output as a promise. So that is something where we are trying to move. Again, another thing which is helping me in work-life balance is create more diverse workforce in my organization, because the diversity ratio was very, very low. Now, everywhere I bring diversity, it brings healthier conversations, Ramesh. And I think somewhere it is helping me to pull the needle up. My regional offices hardly had women. I started with gender. And I started doing those conversations. And I think introduction of women has eased out the atmosphere on those regional offices, including some of the factories in Gujarat where we got women in the factories. Now, this really helped ease the whole atmosphere. So I think diversity is another way I'm trying to move this particular needle up, but the journey is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the conversation and diversity, these all definitely helps for the work-life balance. And one thing more I would like to add here, the learning new things. If that is also the part of your schedule, if you plan something that you're going to learn something today, tomorrow, maybe a day after, or this is the target for the this month. So that also makes you a little more agile. That also makes you more confident, more mentally fit. So that I think the one of the practice can be also included into this. Vandra, I'd like to come to you. What is your practices for the work life balance in your organization?
You know, honestly, it's very difficult to do this in the media and advertising industry. It's really tough. I mean, I would challenge anybody to come and do this here, because it's a relatively unstructured environment, long working hours. There's a lot of client pressure. Client will give you work on Friday evening and say that I will need it by Monday morning. So by default, you will have employees working on the weekend. It's very tough to change the client mindset. We are trying to do that. For example, like towards the end of the year, we are telling our clients that our offices are going to be shut, so we are not available. But to do that, it's a big risk, and it's not something that comes easy for us. But I think what we're doing, we are trying to create an environment where people have multiple opportunities and points to come and kind of unwind, right? So right from creating like a destination a section, like for example, we didn't have a library. We've actually created a library where people can sit and read books. We've also created clubs. So, for example, I have a music club. I also have a book reading club, and trying to cater to different interests of people who can come together and kind of unwind for maybe 1 hour in a week and do things that specifically interest them. Um, we've also become a lot more open to remote working now. Earlier, we were not. We always expected employees to come to office. I think that remote working, a lot of people want that flexibility. So, for example, earlier we were not hiring people from Chennai, Bangalore, or wherever, because we don't have offices there. But now that has become, very, very fashionable in that sense. And then we end up actually taking care of a lot of our hiring needs also. What we are like to add, we also did something for our returning mothers. For example, initially when they come, they find it very difficult to come and give in full 8-9 hours in a day. So we said, let's put a transition plan for them, let them give them flexibility, so that kind of eases the burden. So for first 6 months we'll ask them to do only half a day or maybe thrice a week and so on, so that it helps them kind of ease back into the schedule much easier. Also flexi working hours, options to work from home. We are not rigid anymore. So while we are a 5-day working, but there's a lot of, like, if somebody needs to stay at home today because I have something going on in my house, they don't need to be stressed. They say, you know what, I can work from home and we are okay with it. I think that also gives them a lot of comfort that if I don't go to work, it's not going to be a problem for me.
Oh, Vandana, if I see that you look so beautiful, look so gorgeous. So, what is your How do you maintain your fitness schedule?
Thank you so much, first of all. So I do yoga. I'm a fitness buff. Like I literally do yoga every day. I also work out 3 times a week. Like I'm also into weight training. I have a trainer who actually comes to train me. I also do intermittent fasting. There's a lot of meditation. I meditate at least once or twice a week. I manage my schedule. Uh, I know how I prioritize, like for example, um, I eat on time. Like everybody in the office knows that, you can't schedule a meeting with Vandana at 12 o'clock because she's going to be having her lunch. I think there is a certain discipline that you need to bring about in your own life. And I've realized that, and I know a lot of people struggle to do that because they feel that uh, people will not accept it. But my personal experience is you stick to your schedule and the world will adjust, and the world adjusts. Initially it may be a little difficult, but people eventually understand and accept. I think that self-discipline is very important.
It is great. Absolutely. Self-discipline. Yeah, because I see you a lot of platforms. You are very active and very dynamic. So, what is the secret of your energy?
uh, so I won't say that I am single. That's why I have so much time to go around everywhere. But yes, I have a certain passion, to impact people in various ways that I interact, and I even in my organization or outside, I keep an interaction on with people that gives me a lot of energy to give out the energy, right? So it goes on and on. There are a lot of friends that I have. I have a friend circle which helps me with discussing it. Like next 2 days, I am in a breakfast meeting. So again, I'm a morning person. Like Vandana said, 3 days I'm on a regular routine with my trainer in the mornings, and I also am a breakfast person, so I catch up people on breakfast. I think a lot of positive energy comes into you the moment you start your day well. I think I'm the last person to start my day late, so rather I'll retire early but be early. So I think that should be the mantra of whatever you see everywhere uh, in me.
So, thank you, Vandana, and thank you, Vikas, for sharing your wonderful thoughts. I think this is a very vast area, and we need to connect again to discuss more on this work-life balance. That is, I think that would be that is remain to be spotlighted in this 2023 as well. Quickly, if you can also share with us some what are going to be the workplace wellness trend, well-being trend, you can say, that is for the 2023.
I think there are some key trends that are really emerging, and I'm seeing a lot of that, appear in 2023. I think a lot of people are going to switch to plant-based diets, and the whole idea of superfoods, for example. I think people are realizing that a vegetarian diet is probably a vegan. A lot of people are going vegans. I think these are, they realize that a lot of energy you have a lot more energy if you're on a plant-based diet. I'm not sure if you know, but Djokovic, so a lot of the sports players are all vegetarians, and then you think, where do they get the energy to do it? But they are. The other thing I think is, I people are going to move, like Vikas also said, starting early, finishing early. I think people are going to try and align their routine, align it to nature. You know how nature is like. Birds wake up in the morning and retire early. I think that's something that we are going to see, because we realize that that's healthier. I think sustainable living, eating sustainably, prepared food, being more conscious about the environment. I think that's a trend, and the reason I say that is because I think people also want to feel in their mind that they are living a meaningful life. They don't want to just start work in the morning at 9, work till about 8 9, and that's not the only thing they want to focus on. So while there are others, I think these three are going to be big ones.
And because how do you foresee the workplace well-being trends for 2023?
Sure. So I'll just talk of about 2 or 3 trends. And yesterday I was in a management meeting where we talked about a couple of them. One is that we really consciously included values like respect, values like inclusion into our list of values, and we remodeled them for next 4 years. We looked at how we look at Dhanuka in 2026 and worked backwards and got this. This clearly talks of the so-called softer but very hard to implement aspects, right? And when we look at these indexes, how you measure respect, how you measure inclusion is something that we are working on, and now it will be percolated down the line. At least leadership is aligned. Second is we are focusing a lot on mentoring programs. So we're getting people ready to become coaches and mentors to be able to address some of these bigger issues, and I think internal mentoring really, really helps. It comes through a voluntary effort. Third, because we are actually on the cultivation side, we are very close to ground. We want to give it back to the environment. And I think giving back, being safe and helping farmers to be safe is something we are consciously building across organization to be able to. That also is going to ease out, because what we say is that when you give back, when you return back, or when you help people who need it, really builds in a lot of strength within you. So I
Right.
think these are few of the aspects that we're looking at in
Absolutely.
creating our next few years. I would not limit it to the next year, but next few years.
So thank you, Vikas and Vandana, for sharing your wonderful thoughts. And we will reconnect for any another topic, and we will discuss on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Romesh.
Thanks, Romesh, for calling, and thank you, Vandana. It was nice meeting you as well.